Hey, welcome back. So today I thought I'd do a bit of an update on my indoor greenhouse Ikea grow cabinet that I've been using this year. Take a look at my previous videos on this if you're not familiar with it. So yeah, I thought today we'd have a bit of an update on my plants, how they're all growing. I'll talk a little bit about the challenges that I've faced growing this spring, and I'll also tell you about my Spider Farmer grow lights and how I've been getting on with them. So first of all, this spring has been really cold and quite challenging as an outdoors grower, because usually, you know, there's so many things that I'd have started off in the polytunnel and I didn't feel like it was really that warm enough. So especially in April, it was really chilly. So I felt like having this indoor setup really benefited me to give me a head start for ready when the temperatures warmed up outside. You know, I could raise them in here, germinate my seeds absolutely fine because it's a nice temperature, and then put them out into the polytunnel or into the allotments. So this has been a saving grace in terms of our cold spring. I'm absolutely surrounded by plants actually, by the way. You can't see that there's a load more over there by the window, and down here outside of the cabinet it's all gone a little bit jungly. We'll do a little tour shortly. Yeah, my plants are now getting to the point where they're too big to be either inside the cabinet, or they are ready to go into the polytunnel or out into the ground. You know, it's mid-May now, we've passed the risk of frost. We're hopefully not going to get any more frosts here, so I need to start hardening off my plants now, getting them ready for life in the outside world. You know, in here they've been pampered a very luxury life. This is very overkill for an allotment gardener, but you know, I love my plants, I love growing any type of plants, so this cabinet is going to be used for my house plants in the winter, and I'll also grow lots of herbs like basil and other stuff as well. So I will be continuing to use it throughout the year, but now it's time for the majority of these plants to leave. I have had a bit of a challenge with some of my compost this year, and it's from a brand that I've used before and they've been absolutely fine. So I think I've just got a bad batch, but let me show you the results. Now, unfortunately, it's hit my favourite crop of all, my chillies. So I'm not going to have as many chilli plants this year, and I've lost some of the really speciality ones that I was looking forward to growing. So this here is the Madras chilli. So you might think it looks okay. It's actually quite yellow. Whereas this is an RG mango chilli, which I sowed at the same time, and is looking much greener, really healthy, compared to this very yellow, spindly thing. I mean, look at that. You know, the size comparison speaks for itself. And I've tested the soil in terms of a pH test. I bought a little kit to do my own allotment soil with actually, and it is quite neutral. I thought at first perhaps they were too close to the light, they were getting too bright, that's why they've lost some of their colour. It's not that either. I don't think it's the aminopyralid contaminated compost, because the leaves don't seem to be doing that curling effect that I've seen on Charles Dowding's videos. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, by the way, go check out his videos on the subject of aminopyralid in compost. So I think it's just not got enough nutrients, and I have tried feeding the plants. They just don't seem to be picking up. I mean, yeah, it's just not gonna do much this year, I don't think. I will repot it into some better compost and see if that helps perk them up. But yeah, bit of a shame that I've lost probably 14 of my chilli plants. They're all looking as feeble as this one. So yeah, that's one of the downsides of this spring. And also, just for another comparison on that compost, this is a house tomato, so it's a dwarf tomato that I sowed on the 8th of February. So it is a dwarf tomato, it's going to stay pretty short, about 12 inches. But this one I sowed much later. I don't have a dated label unfortunately, but at least March, perhaps mid-March, so almost a month later. And look, yeah, this one's actually got flower buds on it already. You know, this is perhaps its full height now, and I'm hopefully going to get some very early tomatoes in June probably. So these are actually going to stay inside the cabinet. I'm going to have some indoor crops this year, some dwarf chilies and some dwarf tomatoes. Fortunately, I do have some chili plants that are surviving okay and don't look as feeble as this. So yeah, clear comparison there. Something's not quite right with the compost, so it's unfortunate, but compost these days is just such a Russian roulette. I feel like you don't always know what you're buying, and I know that in future I'm going to stick with Soil Association approved compost. It's more expensive, it's also peat free, but you know, I think you know more what's gone into it, and you know, the results speak for themselves. You don't want to be wasting your money when your crops aren't going to perform. In terms of the grow lights, I was very kindly given some Spider Farmer SF1000 grow lights to try. I've not really used many grow lights in the past. I did use a very cheap pink, similar sort of style flat panel LED light before. Really didn't like the pinky purple effect. But these lights, I'm really enjoying them. They're a nice bright white colour, so they don't hurt your eyes. They've got a dimmer switch, which means I can adjust the output of the intensity of the brightness depending on, you know, the stage of plant growth. And yeah, I'm really enjoying using them. I don't really have any negative points at the moment. I guess one thing is that it doesn't have like a slight reflector edge here to the front, so you know, you can quite easily catch your eyes on it and blind yourself a little bit. But otherwise, really enjoying them. Absolutely love them. Can't fault them. You know, they're really silent. They don't have a fan. And I'm not just saying this because they're supporting the video. You know, I think they are really good bits of kit. And, you know, the growth on my plants just speaks for that, really. I mean, really short, stocky plants. You know, no stretching, really good green colour, and you know, not even any sort of burning. I thought at some points it might be too bright. I'm keeping the lights at the 40 mark at the moment. I think once these start to flower and fruit, I will turn it up to 60, and then even more so if I think that they need it. I'm still keeping them on a timer, by the way, so they come on for 12 hours a day, and I use a smart plug so that it does it all automatically. I don't have to worry about that at all. One thing that has caught me off a little bit is the watering. So because these plants in this cabinet are getting the perfect light, they're pushing out lots of new growth, they're growing all their new roots and really anchoring down, so they're photosynthesizing a lot more, which means they need more water. And it's kind of just caught me off because, you know, normally I wouldn't need to water them as much if it was just a windowsill, because it's not as bright, obviously, or if they were in the polytunnel. So yeah, I just need to water them more. And occasionally they've dried out a little bit too far, but they're all looking really healthy. And yeah, it's just something that I thought I'd mention, because if you're going to get some grow lights, you might need to think about watering more than you thought you would. Well, now I've covered all of that, maybe it's time to give you a little tour, show you all the plants that I've got in the cabinet, under the cabinet, and in front of the window as well, because there's quite a few. This is the setup as it stands at the moment. I've still got just the 2 shelves in the cabinet, but I'm also making use of the spill light that comes out of the cabinet, and you know, I've got a little table here that I've just set in front, so I'm keeping the doors open at the moment just because I've got so many plants. So down here I've actually got quite a few tomatoes, and these aren't looking as stocky as the others because obviously they're not getting quite as much light, but still really healthy, really nice green colour, and it looks like I've got a couple of basils in here as well. And right at the end, I germinated all of my squash seeds indoors this year because it's been so cold on the allotment, and well, they're all ready to be potted up. That one is not labelled, but I believe it's called the red curry squash. So lots of red curries around it. You'll see I've got a bit of a fungus gnat outbreak at the minute, and I'm using the yellow sticky paper only indoors. I don't use that anywhere else. So yeah, lots of red curry squash. They're one of my favourites. Oh, let's just move this out of the way. There we are. So if we start from the bottom level this time, and you'll have to excuse all of the dirt. Dirt gets everywhere. This is quite an impromptu video today, so I haven't done any tidying, so just excuse the mess. But yes, over here we've got lots more squash that I need to share because I've got a few too many here. You'll notice they are coming out of the pots quite a bit. They were actually on the table in front for a little while, so they have reached a little bit, but they're still very healthy, and I just need to repot them deeper. They're ready for repotting really, and soon going into the ground. So they're looking great. Mixture of varieties: red curry, Queensland blue. These are, by the way, my labels made from a milk bottle. If you don't know that little trick, it's a great way of saving money, and especially if you run out of labels like I did. So yes, lots of squash, Queensland blue, Turk's turban I'm also growing this year, red curry, that's another Queensland blue. And over this side I've got some of my really healthy looking chillies. So that one there, look at that incredible variegation. Let's just move it out a little bit. Look at that, amazing colours. And we've got lots of side shoots coming as well, look. So it's going to make a really nice short bushy plant. This is the Mychocha cream red, and this will be quite a dwarf plant that will stay hopefully in the cabinet. Now I've got some more of the same there, look. But these ones I'm really excited for. This is the Argy mango that I showed you a moment ago. Again, really healthy. So I've got quite a few of those, I think 4 or 5 of those. Another one of the variegated leaf. And next to it, these are some of my little Cape gooseberries, also known as physalis. You have to be careful how you say that one. Yeah, quite a few of these. These are in the small pots. I have potted some up as well. So that is the bottom shelf. We've got a mixture of tomatoes, basil, and these interesting things that have gone absolutely wild. Look at that. It's making a bid for freedom. These are called my Mychocha. I've not grown them before. They grow like cucumbers. They look kind of like cucumbers, but they're really spiky looking, like a cross between a cactus and a cucumber. But apparently they taste like green pepper. Not grown them before or even eaten them before, and they've just started to climb, and it feels like they're growing like 6 inches a day now. It's ridiculous. So I need to get these onto a proper support outside. Whee! Look at these little tendrils, the cutest little things. It's so amazing that nature does that. Okay, I've just moved them away so I can actually get in here. So on this side we've actually got some cucumbers, cucumber lemon, that's the lemon crystal one. Very small yellowy cucumbers that apparently taste a little bit like lemon. So they're looking really nice and healthy. The light is actually making them look a little bit more yellow than they actually are. And this one is cucumber early fortune. I've never actually grown a lot of different cucumbers or even harvested that many. So yeah, I'm quite excited for a good cucumber year. Lots of salads and tuna. So these are some more of my Cape gooseberries, and further at the back, there's some chillies that are not looking happy. These are more of the yellow ones from the bad compost. Yeah, I mean, I think it's nutrient deficiency. Let me know if you think it could be anything else. It's just really not good quality. So that one's actually going on the floor because it doesn't deserve space in the cabinet. The prime real estate in here. So we've got a couple more tomatoes. Here is another one of the house tomato, little dwarf variety. I've also got in there some purple basil, some sweet basil, and this one I pinched out, but it hasn't grown its new leaves yet. And another one. Something interesting's happening there. Here, another house tomato, the dwarf one. Look, we've got those tiny little, can you see them? Tiny, tiny little flower buds just about forming there. And yeah, so that's the top shelf. My fly paper. I have sown my squash and my corn. My corn is on the allotment. So at the minute it's 23.1 degrees C, 52% humidity, which is pretty good. So yeah, that's inside the cabinet. It's all growing really well. Lots of things to move out. So here they all are. This one's the Galena, which has the potato leaf. So a very round leaf compared to your traditional tomato shape. And yeah, I really enjoyed growing Galena last year. So there's a few more tomatoes and a couple of chili peppers. This one I actually picked up from a plant swap, but it was a little display stand from a shop owner. Scotch bonnets. I don't have Scotch bonnets that I've sown myself, so I had to pick some up because I love Scotch bonnets. So 2 healthy plants there. And this one here, I think, is the black, no, it's not banana legs, that's last year's tomato, or the year before. Black Hungarian. So it's similar to a jalapeno, but it's black. And I've got some buds there already. Should probably pinch those out because we don't want chilies yet. We want more growth, more roots. So yeah, the tomatoes aren't looking quite as strong and stocky here by the window because obviously the light is not quite so strong. But you know, they're still healthy. This is the normal way of doing things. I've just gone a little bit extra with the cabinet and the lights. You really don't need to have grow lights to grow your own food. Here I've got one of my pelargoniums that's ready to go back outside. I have actually moved the rest of them. And a few more basils, looking a bit sad. But it's all coming along well. Another one of those Mychochas. Can't wait to get these on the allotment and see how well they grow. And over there I've just got some of my houseplants. And here's another one of the small plants, not doing so great. It's looking a little bit yellow. Argy mango. But we shall see. I was trying to bonsai this one in a small pot. So other than the setback with the bad compost, it all seems to be working pretty well, except, you know, a lot of these plants are now ready to move out of the flat. I need more room and I need to get my room back. I think a lot of us are in this position at this time of the year. So yes, but it's going to be a very gradual process. You know, I don't want to move my plants straight from this cabinet to the outside conditions because they won't like it. They'll get really stressed and they'll sulk because they're going to suddenly go from this perfect, still, bright environment to being battered by the wind and cooler temperatures. So I'm going to harden them off. I'll put them in the polytunnel for a little while first and then plant them outside, so it's less of a shock to their system. But yes, so that's going to be the next steps. I thought I'd just show you how everything's doing before I put them outside. And yeah, we'll see how they do from there, and I'll continue to grow my dwarf varieties in here and give you another update at some point when hopefully when I get some food. So thank you very much for watching and joining me on my little update, and I'll catch you again real soon.